Last year, the Star Tribune published an article disclosing that U.S. Bank stadium executives, who controlled 2 luxury suites on taxpayers' behalf, provided free access to those suites to friends and family. The article prompted Jim Nobles, the Legislative Auditor, to conduct a special review, and he now joins me in the studio. Welcome.
Thank you.
What raised red flags for you after reading that Star Tribune article?
What you just said, and that the article said that the officials, public officials, had given free tickets to families and friends. That was the red flag, or the bell that went off, that's a problem. And it's a problem that I, as Legislative Auditor, have to address.
Your report concludes that commissioners and executive director did not violate a law by giving free tickets to friends and family, but did violate a core ethical principle. So what does that mean?
Well, there were 2 laws that could have applied. One is the Code of Conduct for employees in the executive branch. It's the sort of standard code that everybody in the executive branch has to follow, and I think it really articulates, frankly, the core ethical principle that all public officials should follow, and it is the one we just referred to. You do not use a public position to obtain public resources for your family and friends. It's just the core principle. You can't take the laptop home and give it to your family to use for personal business. You can't take the state car and drive it for personal errands and that sort of thing. I mean, it's just what we live by and expect public employees to live by every day.
But they were somehow exempt from
They
following.
were exempt,
right?
And so they were exempt from that particular provision, which is in Minnesota statutes. They were also exempt from another provision of law that could have applied, which is called the gift law, which basically says that if you are a lobbyist or a lobbyist principal is basically an organization that hires a lobbyist, you cannot give a gift of a certain value, and certainly these seats would have met that threshold. You cannot give a gift, in this case free tickets to the stadium suites, to a public official, and they did that. There were a number of public officials who they gave these tickets to. So that would have violated the gift law, but again, because of the way the law is written, the way the authority was established in statute, it does not apply to the authority. So I would say, you know, they kind of escaped a violation on some technical grounds.
The Minnesota Sports Facilities Authority said it needs 2 stadium suites to market the stadium, and yet they have a contract with the Stadium and Convention Center Management, Marketing, and Booking Company. Is this redundant?
Well, it seems redundant to, I think, a lot of people that SMG, the company, and it is a highly respected worldwide company that manages similar kinds of stadiums and other kinds of convention centers. This is their business. They know it well. They're professionals. And in fact, SMG appointed a general manager for the U.S.Bank Stadium as part of that contract. And they have a significant number of employees who are working every day marketing and managing the U.S.Bank facility. So do we need others on the board of the Sports Authority, to be doing similar things? Well, we probably need a public organization like the authority to be involved to some degree. Do they need to be involved full-time with, you know,
with every event and
with every event and with a chair that's full-time and an executive director that's full-time? That's a question the legislature needs to look at. We didn't directly address that question, but we certainly called attention to the fact that SMG is involved. In fact, in our report, we quote the chair, Michelle Kelm-Helgen, as saying they hired SMG specifically because of their deep experience managing and marketing these kinds of facilities.
One recommendation is that the legislature, quote, consider enactment of laws to control the use of complimentary tickets at all sports and entertainment facilities built with public money. Are other venues granting similar perks to their boards and commissions?
It's a mix, and we did not do a comprehensive assessment, but we did call and talk to people in other venues around the Twin Cities, because that's where, not all of them, but a lot of them are. And there's a variety of practices and policies. Some, for example, at Target Center, which is owned and operated by the city of Minneapolis, they said no. We do not provide complimentary tickets, that the mayor wants to go to see a an event, a game, she buys the ticket. At Target Field, where the Twins play, it's very different. They allow their commissioners to have access to a suite, to tickets, free tickets, and they don't really have any restrictions on their use. And it's our understanding by their acknowledgement that they do on occasion bring in family and friends. So it's a mix, and you've often heard the Sports Authority refer to the dome practices at the former Metrodome as being one of the reasons why they continued that practice at the new facility. And so I do think it's time for the legislature to address this issue. And we did recommend that they address it uniformly across all of the facilities that are built and operated with public money. I don't see the justification for putting a policy on one and not the others.
According to your analysis, 30% of the tickets were used appropriately, 45% of the tickets were used for friends and family, and 10% of the ticket users had a questionable purpose. The report states that the authorities claim that it needs 2 suites rather than 1 is not supported by facts or logic. So what is the remedy? What do you recommend happen next?
Well, there could be a variety of things. One of the things we suggest is that the legislature authorize some charitable use. And again, it's interesting that this was done back at the Metrodome. And even though the current Sports Authority officials say, well, we copied what they did at the Metrodome, and that's why we were giving tickets to family and friends, when we asked them, well, why aren't you giving some tickets through a charitable kind of an organization, one way or the other, either directly or indirectly through a nonprofit organization, their legal counsel said that would not be a public purpose, which we found a little baffling. Our follow-up question to him was, and giving tickets to family and friends is a public purpose? To which he did not answer. So there are a variety of things that could be done, and I know legislators are working on that. There are bills that would do a variety of things to address the question of whether or not the authority really needs 2 suites.
Mr. Nobles, that's all the time we have today. I want to thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you.